Wabada Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Rakakatash Rakatham. Peace and blessings to all for left, 1 for the 4, and the rest of the 1/3. Yes, Salaki about that. These foes want to hold on to all types of fouls and all this. Why are you constantly trying to go into fouls and all this? That's how you know this devil's so scared. It wants to know everything about you, you know, and it keeps on shutting off my damn my camera. You know, this devil, man, I'm telling you, this devil is ridiculous. But here goes Elder Makama, giving it to you raw. That's right. It's a wrap over. It's a wrap for you, devil.
Shalom. Call the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakah HaKodash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000 in the tabernacle of David, ordained in the Bible to be the ruling class people, the ruling government here on earth above all the nations, above all the people. And the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled birds, the Israelite foreigners, among the heathen nations that have the appearance of the heathen nations. All right, this is not a black only thing. And to the few Akwak, meaning the sisters that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. This will be a prophecy watch, news and prophecy. And you know, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 144,000, 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes to be the new judges, primarily make up the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But you do have to include the rest of the scattered elect to be among that number of the Lord's elect. Okay? That can be found in Revelation, the 7th chapter. The scattered elect, the scattered among the heathen. That's why the Lord is going to use the angels to come back and separate the wheat from the tares. Okay, so you got your 144,000, the judges, and then the rest of the scattered elect. That's what it is. That's what time we're in. And this last woe, all right, the war to end all wars, the third world's war is the third woe in the Bible, and it is upon us. And as that's happening, Esau, Edom, the wicked, the people who are first in this earth, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. And that's an easy equation to figure out. Everyone knows, as you look at the screen, everyone knows what people are first in this earth right now upon the return of the Lord. Who returns to a world ruled by the Edomites? All right? And everyone knows who's last in this world. And that will be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Natives in the Americas and wherever they're scattered to. It's not a difficult thing to figure out. Or, if you don't want to be honest with yourself, that's on you. But, I noticed too that as we're reading this, Germany says U.S. troop withdrawal anticipated. Spain and Italy could be next. Okay. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz gives a statement during his visit to the army at Bunsworth Base in Munster, Germany, Thursday, April 30th, 2026. So that was just a couple days ago. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius sought to project calm Saturday after the Pentagon announced it would withdraw roughly 5,000 troops from his country, calling the decision anticipated and insisting his country is ready to shoulder more of the burden of its defense. And that's not what it is. What it is they can't afford to keep their troops there. They're not even flying the poison planes right now. Okay? The planes that do the geoengineering, that's putting all those heavy metals and make people sick. I felt great these last couple days since they have not been spraying. I felt great. Okay? The skies have been clear blue with real clouds, not those long stringy things that spread out and have everybody with headaches and clouded vision and whatever effects it have on you. Because I would assume, because this is going into the third day, and I talked to my son yesterday, We chatted it up via messages, and he said the same thing is going on in Colorado. All right, same thing. The skies are actually clear. So it's like ever since they announced that, Spirit Airlines completely just went out of business, I'm going to assume that the burden of, to keep those planes is just too much now. And it will be difficult to justify, an American airline going out of business, and how that's going to hurt so many Americans from being able to fly, not to mention all the employees now have no work, no way of supporting themselves. And then to keep those planes, do that geoengineering, spraying all those heavy metals, which are killing us and making us sick and making animals sick, and the soil sick, whatever. All right, and then they try to pretend like all these metals that are devastating to the both human and animal bodies were not coming down on us via the rain and the snow. Okay, but it says the presence of American troops, and particularly in Germany, lies in our interest and in the interest of the U.S. Defense, told German news agency DPA. Pistorius added that if Germany was to remain a transatlantic partner, it must work to strengthen the European pillar of NATO. Trump administration's announcement Friday to withdraw the troops from Germany sparked concerns among European allies, raising questions about durability of NATO, the alliance, and America's long-term commitment. And see, the thing is that this is CNN's report, so it's very American friendly. And they're trying to make it sound like the Germans don't want them to leave, and they do. The Germans don't want them there. Spain and Italy don't want them there, and they've made that clear. See, they're giving this report very disingenuously, because they're giving a report as if they have a choice in this matter. They're being kicked out, and they don't have the resources to keep their bases there. Okay. It says this is an AI report, and this is a CNN again. Let's shift the camera over so you can see what I'm reading. Okay. It says there's an AI overview, Google AI. It said, based on reports as early as May 26, a significant number of United States military installations in West Asia, that's what what you call the Middle East, the fraudulently called the Middle East, is Western Asia, always has been. So is Europe. Eurasia sits in Western Asia as well, one continent. All right. Have sustained severe damage from Iranian missile and drone strikes, what some describe as virtually inoperable or uninhabitable. CNN investigation, along with report, indicates that at least 16 U.S. sites across 8 countries in the region were targeted in retaliatory strikes, with a substantial portion of U.S. positions in the region impacted. Then it gives you the damaged facilities. Key installation impacted include Camp Bureen Ali Al Salam Air Base, Port Shuaibah in Kuwait, AI Udid Air Base in Qatar, U.S. 5th Fleet Headquarters in Bahrain, Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. Man, the U.S. is over there getting their ass kicked. They destroyed these billions, $1 trillion of bases and made them uninoperable and uninhabitable. Who's winning? Okay? Scale of impact, some sources describe the damage is unprecedented, with some sites rendered unusable while others are being repaired. Let's get some scriptures, man. This is Obadiah. Let's go to Obadiah first. Obadiah 1:1, it says, in the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. See, because this is, Obadiah is one of the shortest books in the Bible, yet it pronounces the judgment on Edom, who is the first in the world, who is the wicked according to the Bible, and who is ruling the earth and will be ruling the earth upon the second coming. This is who the Lord is coming to take the earth from. the Edomites, the wicked, which is so-called Caucasians, the self-proclaimed white man. He's not white, he's really red. You know, Esau was born red all over like a hairy garment. All right, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor of Yahweh, and an ambassador sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, and thou art greatly despised. And right now the world really hates Edomites collectively, and especially the little hats. The pride, because they're Edomites too. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, and saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? See? So their pride have deceived them, and now all the allies are turning on them. And yes, they lived in the caves and in the rocks. You know, thus the term Caucasian means cave dweller. Okay? So it's a time to shut down U.S. military bases in West Asia. Let's see what this is. The Crescent. All right? Okay? Time to shut down bases. All right? And the Crescent International, Magazine of Islamic Movement International. So this is coming from them. See, so let's see how their report reads. It says, time to shut down U.S. bases in West Asia by Breck Jonkers. So that's the Edomite that's working for this Crescent International. All right, newspaper and Islamic movement. Okay, I've never heard of this. So so it said the decision of the U.S. regime to go to war against the Islamic Republic of Iran, especially during the month of Ramadan, will go down in history as a clear-cut example of imperial hubris, arrogance, and overstretch. All right, and much like the haughty and self-applauding rule of the Pharaoh and the overconfident sinfulness of Sodom, their report is a little bit different, huh? It will only serve to speed up the consigning empire into the dustbin of history. Ooh, let me read that again. It will only serve to speed up the consigning of the empire into the dustbin of history. Because it's a wrap for this. It's a wrap for the West. It's a wrap for America. It is a wrap for the Edomite rulership. What Trump promised was a quick and easy regime change operation that was planned to last a few weeks at most, was akin to the eerily familiar member of Saudi Arabia vowing to defeat Yemen in a matter of mere 6 weeks back in 2015, a war that at the moment was hit its 11th anniversary, still haven't stopped. What Trump actually delivered, however, is an Iran more united than ever, the Straits of Hormuz completely under Iranian control and off bounds to any service of Zion. The globe petroleum market is in disarray. That's why the poison planes aren't flying, and Eagle and Spirit Airlines. See, this is killing American businesses. It's widespread destruction and discontent among U.S. allied monarchs. This is why they're being kicked out of. You see the difference between this report and the CNN report? U.S. allied monarchies in the Persian Gulf, an economic downturn that is going to hold most of the West and its satellite states in a firm grip for years. Far from the Islamic Islamic government in Tehran collapsing under U.S. bomb being replaced by the puppet regime, resulting in a typical U.S.-backed color revolution, the legacy of the Islamic Revolution has achieved an elevated level of national cohesion. The Iranian people and much of the world understand that it is a fundamental conflict waged on an eschatological level, a clear-cut war between good and evil. Well, they're both evil because, the Iranians, they don't preach the message of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. They preach the message of Allah, which is not the name of God. Allah simply means power. That's a title of God, not his name. Okay? Political differences between factions with Iran have been, that's like saying God, because God, typically means power. It's just the same thing. It's a title, not a name. But political differences between factions with Iran have been set aside and even former participants of anti-government protesters of the past months have not joined the million-man rallies in support of Iran's defenses. Moreover, decades of political propaganda demonizing the Islamic Republic have become undone in a matter of weeks, as Iran's soft war capabilities have done marvelous works in exposing on social media and through grassroots journalism the inner working of the Zionist clique. All right. The war of aggression against Iran, coming on the heels of shattering revelations regarding the Zionist pedophile operations run by the Epstein cabal. Wow, they going in, man. And the world has pretty much agreed to that, including many Westerners in America. It's many Westerners from America are also calling this Operation Epstein, because this war was to keep Trump and his pedophile regime administration out of jail, you know, and put the focus on someone else. Exposing on social media through grassroots journalism the inner working of the Zionist clique with the war of aggression against Iran on the heels of the shattering revelation against the Zionist pedophile operation run by the Epstein cabal, public distrust of American regime, and all is at an all-time high, and that's 100% true. I can't, if it were not so, I would say that's not true, but it is, man. I'm playing the neutral guy. I have no dog in this fight. All right, I'm just telling it like it is. Major futures within the establishment, such as Joe Kent resigning as the head of National Counterterrorism Center in protest with the likes of political, because how you going to call yourself a man of the law when the people to your left and right have been, eating babies and doing things to, young white underage women, and yet nobody goes to jail for it because they're good old boys, within that white patriarchy. All right, then they don't get to go to jail. Okay, and people in the world saw that, and the citizens of America saw that. So they have permanent distrust. All right, John Mearsheimer stating that the U.S. has already lost the war against Iran. I would have to agree with that. Are high-level slaps in the face of the U.S. smack. What did the five fingers say to the face? Slap. It says imperialist propaganda that would have been unthinkable at the height of the war to terrorize crazed 20 years. Bit by bit, people in the West are waking up to the truth behind Zionist lies that have been spoon-fed since birth. And this is true because, and they're constantly making more laws, even now as I read this, for anybody who speaks against that, to label you the T word, that's why they want to set up this new system, so you can get a credit score, a very low credit score, social credit score, and you are not allowed to do anything for speaking against the cabal, the Epstein class. The U.S. has had a resort to calling on its satellite states to help, like a feudal suzerain summoning its vassals when the going gets tough. The humiliation was made worse when the non-bannermen rallied around the flag, and entirety of NATO, aside from Britain, refused to call outright, even though the normally loyal Arab monarchies of the Gulf. Discontent is brewing with the actions of Washington, the lack of coordination with the, so I'm not going to read this whole thing, but, America called on its allies, and they refused to go and refused to help. And you saw in the first article, they made it sound like the U.S. is like, we're leaving and you guys are really screwed now. When it was the other way around. Okay? Time to shut down U.S. bases in Western Asia. Okay? And they've done so. And it seems that they're also being shut down in Northwestern Asia, in Eurasia, a part of Asia that they call Europe. All right, because remember, Europe sits in Asia as well. It's not a separate continent, and so does the so-called Middle East. And and so basically, what's happening here, as you're reading it, and as you're seeing it, the U.S. is losing control. The West is losing control over the false narratives that they forced on the world because they're hated. All right, let's get a few more scriptures and get ready to wrap this up. I rather enjoyed reading that article. Right? I need to do these type of videos more often. This is Isaiah 14:11. And it reads, thy pomp is brought thee, 14:10. All they speak and say unto thee, art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? See, now that the Saudi Arabia and these Western Asian nations and countries are standing up against you, and even your European fellows, your fellow Edomites over there in Europe, they're against you. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and worms shall cover thee. And worms is basically, associated with death. And they told you that that the West is dying. It's going into the dustbin of history. The consigning empire, is going to speed up the consigning empire into the dustbin of history. All right, and America will be one gigantic desert, according to the Bible, by the time this is all over.
Call.
Okay, let's get Revelation 17. Get ready to wrap this up. And 15, and it reads, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth are the peoples and the multitudes and the nations and tongues. See, so the whore of Babylon that sat upon the dragon, which was NATO, which was Rome reborn. All right, the one who controlled that was the whore of Babylon, and now that beast is going to turn around and burn and eat her with fire. All right, verse 16, and the 10 horns, right, the NATO countries, which thou sawest in its original state, it was 10 of them. Right, and they try to even change. I remember that used to be the answer when you went on the internet, and now it switched, I think, to 12. They were trying to offset prophecy, say that wasn't them. But Revelation 17:16, the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So when the third woe goes full blown, and the missiles start flying, the arrows, the broken arrows, when the arrows start flying from one end of the earth to the other that can melt the elements, all the nations are going to aim at the whore of Babylon. And that's where we are. And so all the things that come with that collapse and fall, the collapse of society, the riots, the martial law, the lack of food and water and the suffering, we're entering into that time. Well, we're in that time. It's just going to progressively get much, much worse until the Lord comes. So this is near. And in that time of that collapse, they're going to try and force, Revelation 13:16-18. And they're not going to try. They're going to actually do it. And the scriptures tell you that the moment they achieve that, that's when the Lord is going to, that means the war is going to be at its height, and that the Lord will appear and destroy all those armies and then set up the kingdom of heaven here on earth. Amos 9:11. All right. So that's what it is. So with that, all praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, Kwam Yasharala, Abba Babal.
There you go. There you go. You're done, devil. You're done. That's right. To the next one. Ball.